that we're all going through as a result of this. Some people very angry too. Let's bring in for more on the province-wide shutdown, the mayor of Aurora, Ontario, just north of Toronto, Mayor Tom Marakis. Tom, good to see you. Appreciate your time.
Oh, thanks for having me, Todd. I appreciate you.
What do you think about this?
Well, to be quite honest, I mean, I don't envy the premier in the position that he's in and the tough decisions that he's had to make. Shutting down, so-called shutdown of a select few businesses, I don't see how that's going to curb the case growth. And so, I can't speak for other regions, but in York region, the data doesn't support that the restaurants, that the personal care services and your gyms are where the transmissions are occurring. And so penalizing these local small businesses in this way is not going to achieve what the outcome is that we're all looking for at this moment in time.
Hey, I'm curious as well, as you're showing our viewers some of the, quote, emergency brake details, Tom, what it's going to mean as of tomorrow for Ontario. And I keep, reiterating, we're talking about 15 million people or just shy of that who are going to be going through this. That includes, in the York region where you are, north of Toronto. What would you like to see? I mean, just in terms of what you think could change in order to perhaps be smarter about this in your mind?
Well, I've always believed that we need to find a balance and have that balanced approach. And I think that we were achieving that in New York region with being in that red zone where things could be open, but have restrictions in place, strong restrictions, have strong enforcement. And then I think with the vaccines going through, I'm going to take a quote from Dr. Kurji, our medical chief officer of health, and that's vaccinate, vaccinate, vaccinate. And I think that we need to take a strong, targeted approach, an aggressive approach to vaccinations. And now that as we're moving through those age brackets, we need to start to take that targeted approach and look at vaccinating our teachers, our essential workers, our grocery store workers. And by that approach, I think that we can continue to stay open. And if everyone follows and adheres to those guidelines, I think that's the way we would be able to move through this in a positive way.
There are signs that more and more people, Tom, are ignoring a lot of this stuff now. I'm curious what you're hearing from your constituents in Aurora. I mean, what are people saying?
Well, I think everyone does have fatigue. We're seeing it more and more as we continue to go through this, and especially when the province comes out and announces another 28-day shutdown. But I mean, ultimately, I'm a firm believer that we need to continue to adhere to the guidelines and to the rules that are being presented to us, whether you agree or disagree with them. This is where we're at. It's a 28-day shutdown. It's going to hurt a lot of our small businesses, but we need to get through this, and we need to do that by adhering to those guidelines. Let's not get into social gatherings. Let's not mix with people that are outside of our household, and wash your hands, physical distancing. And I think the most important thing that we always continuously been telling everyone is wear a mask. Mm-hmm. And if we do that and get through these 28 days, I think that we'll all be able to have that summer that we're all looking forward to.
One last thing, just quickly. I mean, there are those who are critical of the fact that, places like Aurora and other parts of Ontario are now effectively in the same situation as Toronto, major population center. Do you understand that anger? Why are we having to deal with what, Toronto is dealing with when, we have much smaller populations and much smaller case counts in our local health area?
Absolutely, and that is the frustrating part. I mean, we look at that and we look at our case counts, and as I said, the data does not support that that the transmission is occurring in these select few businesses, and so to shut them down, all it does is penalize them, and I can see it throughout our community. But at the same time, safety of our residents is priority number one, and that's why we need to continue and focus and be vigilant so we can get through this.
Tom Marakis is the mayor of Aurora, Ontario, north of Toronto. Thank you for this, Tom. Good to have you on the show today with us.
Thank you, Todd, and happy Easter to everyone.
You as well.